Okay, hi, we're recording. Hello.
Hi.
So we're just going to start over really fast. But what I was just saying is that kind of the introduction to this is that Katie and I were hanging out last weekend and we were just talking more about finding freedom in your health and fitness journey and how really that really helps you find freedom in the rest of your life. And that we've both been through different experiences and different seasons in our life where taking care of our bodies and even more so taking care of our minds and the emotional part of our bodies as well literally changed our life. And we were realizing that not a lot of women, like not every woman has a friend who's like speaking this kind of truth into her life. And so we thought, what if we just hopped on and just talked for a couple minutes to whoever wanted to join us, where we just shared more of our passion and our hearts for just encouraging women and empowering them more about finding freedom in your health and fitness journey, finding freedom in your life. And then if anyone had like specific questions or ways that we could encourage them, that we would love to do that too. So that was kind of just like the basis for this call. Like there wasn't like a formal, like we didn't create a PowerPoint or like really like go over anything before this other than, hey, let's just encourage women. Like let's just empower each other. And so I know for me, just to like share a little bit of like my story of just, for me, I struggled for years, like with shame and frustration and being in this vicious cycle in my health and fitness journey. For me, it was really, I'm at the end of high school when I stopped doing organized sports, started gaining weight, and I'd always kind of felt like I was the chubby friend. And so then I just felt like I had so much on my plate. I was so busy, and the only area of my life that I really couldn't felt like I didn't have time to dedicate to was taking care of my body. So it was whatever quick solution, that's what I wanted to do because everything else was taking up my time. I couldn't put one more time consuming thing on my plate, but I needed something to help me lose weight. And my whole goal was to just be skinny. So I literally tried like everything, like diet pills, weird cleanses where I was like drinking like lemon and like maple syrup and cayenne pepper and like eating nothing else. Like just so the stuff that I used to do to be skinny was insane. And then I would finally get down to that golden number on my driver's license, which I didn't even weigh when I was 15 and a half and put that number down on my driver's license, on my permit. And I was miserable because I was hangry. I couldn't maintain it. I would gain the weight right back. I was grouchy, like I didn't have nutrients in my body. And I started to realize, it took me much longer to actually do something about it, but I started to realize at that point that I needed something else because I needed freedom in my life. Like I was tired of like feeling like that this was something that was controlling me, that I started to feel like I didn't want to be in pictures. I didn't want to run into people that I knew because I was gaining weight. I just felt like I was always uncomfortable in my skin. I was always uncomfortable, like when I was like trying to put clothes on. I was so frustrated all the time. And it was 3 years ago that when I joined my friend's online accountability group that I really started to find freedom in my health and fitness journey because I found tools that made this a lifestyle. And more than that, I found a community of women who were like pouring truth into me, who started to help me find my identity, who were telling me who I was and what my purpose was on this earth. And that honestly, like at the end of the day, who cares what the number on the scale is? If someone in your life likes you more because you're skinnier, that person doesn't actually like you. Like that's not someone who we really need in our lives. But we get to like in this, like we have this idea, like for me, I was like, I'll be more successful if I'm skinnier. I'll be
Yeah.
more attractive if I'm skinnier. Like you start to fill your mind like with these lies. And I truly believe that at the end of the day, we were created for so much more than that. I believe at the end of the day that each of us was created with a specific purpose to do something specific on this earth. And that if we waste time being self-conscious, just believing the lies that we can't do anything, believing the lies that we can't amount to anything, that we can't dream bigger, like if we stay trapped and held captive to these lies that we believe about ourselves, I believe that the world will be left without something it was supposed to have if we don't achieve our purpose on this earth. So I believe that us taking care of our bodies is about so much more than being skinny or about our jean size. It's about our quality of life. It's about fulfilling our purpose on this earth. It's about living the best versions of our lives. And it's about living a life that's not mediocre, about living a life that's filled with freedom and passion and creativity. And I believe that that starts with us starting to really understand who we are and our identity, which has nothing to do with the number on the scale, which has nothing to do with the number on your jeans or the brand of those jeans. And so I'm going to pass it to Katie to kind of share her heart, because I feel like I'm just going to go off on my soapbox. We know I can talk about this, as I do all the time, and especially like with the two of you guys, because I feel like both of you guys, I constantly feel like, oh wow, like we're like so similar in so many ways. So I'll just keep talking. But I'm going to pass it to Katie so she can talk to you for a couple minutes, Amanda, just about her heart and like what she like believes about finding freedom in your life and your health and fitness journey.
Yeah, and I'm totally aware of you having to leave, so don't feel bad. You can leave right now if you need to, but I'm going to keep going since we're recording. But I'm pretty new to this, but I just wanted to hop on here, and obviously Brittany has been a big, huge part of me coming into my own and wanting to be a coach. But my heart behind all this is that I agree with Brittany 100%, but my story is a lot different. And it's a lot of the reason that I wanted to kind of talk about freedom from shame, freedom from fear. I actually struggled like my whole life with basically believing that my identity was wrapped around, being pretty, being beautiful, and wanting to be loved, because I came from a really dysfunctional family. I grew up with an abusive dad. My sister's cat's trying to bother me. But yeah, I grew up in a really dysfunctional home, and kind of shoved all that down and I didn't have any tools to like deal with that shame that I kind of grew up with. And then to top it all off, I ended up getting married and went through a really difficult divorce, and it derailed me. It not only derailed me in my health and fitness, and I gained a bunch of weight. I was eating like gallons of pumpkin ice cream daily, Netflix binging. I was super depressed, and I basically thought my life was over because my identity was wrapped in having that dream life. Whether it's, it was, for me, it was like getting married and thinking that would make me happy. And so I think that I just have a huge heart to get behind you guys as our friends and as women, and just kind of empower you guys to I think to be able to own your story. I really believe that health happens like in the inside out. Like no matter how much I've worked out or tried to eat healthy, or like Brittany said, like I've tried, everything under the book, I think most women have, it didn't fix my inside. It didn't fix who I was and my insecurity and my self-doubt. And if other people would think, oh, you're beautiful, it was never enough. I was seeking perfection. And so I just kind of wanted to like make this something that we could do to hop on and share. And I want to hear from you guys at some point about what your story is. But kind of my heart just is that I want to talk about shame. I want to talk about the things that we've never told people. And for me, that was my childhood. That was my divorce. I thought I was just I had no more like reason to live in one regard, but also just no desire to like take care of my body, no desire to, I don't know, like my worth was just in men and just wanting to be pretty and wanting to be good enough. And that's just never going to happen. And so I think that a big part of my story, and I want to encourage you guys, is just letting go of the perfectionism. I think that's like the hardest thing that I've had to do, and it's a journey. I don't think I'm like there or arrived, but I think as women, it's time for us to recognize that we are enough. We're okay. And even more so, like Brittany said, I'm a believer in God, and I believe that's a huge part of our health, is that we need to seek forgiveness of ourselves. We need to forgive ourselves for not being perfect, for whatever that looks like in your life, whether it's your health and fitness, or maybe it's unrelated to that. Maybe it's your relationships. Maybe you have dysfunctional family. Maybe, there's a gazillion things that might be going on in your life, that you've had a failed career, or you got fired in some job, or you don't make as much money as you wish you did. Whatever the case is, went through a terrible breakup. Like, I think that we all relate to that feeling of just never being enough. And that doesn't really get us anywhere. We just keep pounding the ground. And I think that I just want to build a safe place for all of us to not only get healthy in our bodies, but more importantly, like our mental state, and to work on like anxiety, to work on the fears that we face. And I think that for me, the only way to do that is by doing this, which is terrifying to me, but by talking to you guys. And I want all of us to experience that freedom. I think we have to be honest, like where is it that we feel fear? Where is it that we feel self-doubt? Where are insecurities? And if we don't talk about it out loud, I think it just has power over us, and we'll never get freedom. So I'm hoping that we can make this happen again, and you guys can hop on and we can each kind of share little pieces of our story that maybe are unrelated to fitness and health, but they're parts of who we are. And I think if we get freedom in those areas, then we will ultimately have like freedom in our health. So
Yeah,
that's my little soapbox.
I just loved that. I just love that. And it just made me think of like, I mean, how important it is to remember that you matter. You know, something that Katie and I talk a lot about, and it is because of our relationship with God, that we just know our identity is in that our and our worth. We understand a lot for, you know, my health and fitness journey used to be marked by shame, by deprivation, by frustration, by discouragement. And the more that I really dug into understanding like who I am in Christ and my identity in that, in that relationship and who he tells me I am, the more that I started to understand more of what my life is supposed to be like. The more that I started to understand that I am hand created with a specific purpose, that I am not an accident, that my life is valuable. I started to understand more about forgiveness, which was something that I never was easygoing on myself, because like Katie was saying, like I was a perfectionist too. I never wanted to ask for help. I wanted to do everything to the best of my ability and make it look really easy. Like even when I was like crushing myself, you know, like because it was just all the facade. Like I just wanted to make it look like it was just so easy for me to do all of this stuff, that I didn't have to, you know, like that it wasn't a big deal to me that I was doing all this stuff. But the reality is that that was crushing me. Like I just kept putting more and more stuff on my plate and I couldn't hold it. And one of the beautiful things about being in these online communities is that to be with women who are telling you and reminding you that you matter, to be with women who are telling you and reminding you about forgiveness, about grace, these words that never were part of my health and fitness journey before, but that are now. I can tell you that like I can't even remember the last time I stepped on a scale, like something that I used to do multiple times a day. And there is such freedom in living life this way, because I believe that we are supposed to be thinking about so much more. We're supposed to be doing so much more than being worried about just like how uncomfortable you are in this outfit or like trying to find the right thing to wear. And so as we continue talking about this, as we continue opening up about this, I just want to encourage you and empower you, whoever is going to watch the recording of this, to remember that you matter, to constantly challenge every lie that comes into your mind that tells you that you don't matter or that you can't do something. I want to encourage you and remind you that like self-confidence is like a muscle. Like you have to start working it out, and it's going to be uncomfortable at first, but it's going to grow. And then you need to consistently keep working out, consistently keep working on that self-confidence and remembering who you are, remembering your self-worth, grounding yourself in truth. Because as soon as you kind of distance yourself from that, it's easy to kind of fall back. So maybe you're looking back or you're listening to this and you're thinking there was a time when you were really healthy, physically, emotionally, mentally, and now you're not. But just know that you can get there again. And so I encourage you to find a community of women who believe in you, find a community of women who are going to empower you, who are going to speak truth into your life. And if you aren't part of our community, Katie and I would love for you to join us. Like we think we're fun. And anytime that you guys need help or just need to remember the truth or need some empowerment, reach out to us because we want to encourage you. So you guys, thank you so much for watching the recording of this, for tuning in with us. We will, I will share the recording of this so that whoever wants to like listen back on it can. And again, just remember like who you are, remember your identity, remember truth, and surround yourself with people who are going to remind you of that. Katie, do you want to say anything else?
One quick thing I want to add as just kind of like a little takeaway challenge, because I love challenges. I challenge you guys to pick one person that you've had a really, really hard time forgiving. It could be really, really recent, or it could be years ago that someone hurt you, someone did wrong to you, someone frustrated you, and you've held on to it. You remember it like clear as day, and it kind of has like a root in you. I just want to encourage you guys, like that person probably is coming to mind, like as I'm saying this, and just out loud as you're watching this, or take a journal, or just say it in your mind, I forgive that person. I'm going to start the journey of forgiving that person. And I genuinely believe that if we like start to forgive others, we can give ourselves more forgiveness, and we will get healthier emotionally, which will then in turn cause us to be healthier physically. So yeah, that's my challenge. Let me know if you guys watch this, like put a comment or tag me, or you can, like Brittany said, reach out to us. We're always here. And I'd love to hear the little stories of what that looked like in your life. So
yeah.
bye, y'all.
Bye, you guys.
Have a good one.